Okay, if you are using NetBeans, you can extend it, you can improve NetBeans if you want. The way to improve NetBeans is to choose NetBeans modules. You want to create a module because the small pieces that extend NetBeans are called modules. So I will create a new project, module, this is location, and I will use, and I want to insert it into this ID. So, code name base, CZ Xelfi. By the way, Xelfi was the original name of the student project, which later turned into NetBeans, and I still own the CZ Xelfi domain. It was basically a letter play on word Delphi, because in the 90s there was a famous UI graphical interface by Borland called Delphi. So we wanted to create Delphi for X Windows. So we exchanged the D for X. Delphi. Okay. I will ask the system to generate my project. And now I can start extending the IDE. Well, if you download the latest version of NetBeans, what you can do, you can actually extend the IDE with HTML interfaces. So the first one is probably portable HTML UI. So, this is NetBeans. This is development build of NetBeans 8.1. So 8.1. So inside of NetBeans 8.1, we are really using all these libraries for helping us to work with HTML and Java and connect it together. So prefix, class name, test, icon, I don't have any icon. These files will be generated. So right now, I will have HTML file as the UI and a Java class as a controller. So no JavaScript. Basically, I will be able, this is my Java application and this is the UI, how it will look like. We can talk about the content later. I will just run it. So right now, basically we are launching a new version of NetBeans, another instance, and this instance will contain our extension, the module we have just created. And I think once it launches the icon, here will be a new icon, well, icon with a default icon, and it says open HTML hello world. So that's our sample. So I will do it, and here we have the UI. You can put here something and ask a question, and the question now shows a dialog, and the dialog is also in HTML. And it's live, so right now this button is disabled because I need to press OK. And now it should be enabled. Ah, that's not. Okay. Dear demagogues, bear with me, please. Let it work. So, it's a dev build. It's not a release product yet. So, I will find out what's wrong. Anyway, this is not the important stuff that I wanted to show, because I don't know, probably not many of you will be extending NetBeans platform. But all of us want to write for mobile phones. So, how can we do it? So, if you go to plugins, here is a plugin in the available plugins called DukeScript. Let me find it here. So, it's this one, DukeScript Project Wizard. And you can just install it. And once you install it, let's try it. So, HTML5 and JavaScript. Kertjan already mentioned that we support HTML5 development really well. So let's try to use Java instead of the classical format. So project name will be test, CZ Xelfi test, and let's go on. So now we are really going to create a cross-platform application. Do we want to run it on Android? Sure. Do we want to run it on iOS? Well, I don't have a Mac here, so we cannot. Do we want to run it in a browser? Yes. Do we want to run it as a NetBeans plugin? Well, actually no. Who cares about NetBeans? So, now we can choose whether we want complex archetype or simple archetype. Let's start with the simple archetype. I will press OK. And now, again, Katja mentioned that we have great integration with Maven. So, all the work which I'm doing through the UI can also be done from a command line. This is basically the command you can run, and it will ask the Maven to generate a project for you. So the whole system is basically ID independent. You are not tied to NetBeans if you want to choose something else. But using NetBeans has some benefits. So first of all, I need to build the application, I think. And it may take a time. Download. No, don't download anything, please. The Wi-Fi is slow. Okay, the project will is still compiling, but I think this part is already done. So let me demonstrate the features that really show how good integration between Java and HTML can be if you are running in NetBeans. So I need to switch this window to stay under everybody else. And now Katja was showing how you can adjust to various devices. So let's do it. Let's choose the device size that we want. Okay, oh, this one. So we have a phone. And you can see that the user interface somehow is adjusting. Well, that's not all. You can also use the DOM inspector, just in case, just in the same way you are used to it when writing HTML and JavaScript. You can do it with Java as well. Okay, what the application does? It actually, yeah. So you can modify something here in the line, and then you can rotate. So it's really a trivial application that is supposed to show that you can do animations, and you have some control on the dynamic side of the page. And when I press screen size, this button will basically invoke a Java code and change the text to the dimension of the screen. But now, I think basically the whole goal here was to show that Java can be better than JavaScript. And I think this is something that cannot be achieved in JavaScript at all. So, where we have it? So, we have rotate 5 seconds, show screen size. So, basically, this is what this is doing is changing a model where you can set the message. Hello. So, I will change it to Hello Athens. Now, I will save it. And when I click the button once again, it immediately sees the code changes. And this is something you cannot do with JavaScript. With JavaScript you would have to reload the page. But here we don't even have to reload the page. The whole state of the page, which is in memory, can stay there. And we can do hot swapping of the Java code, because Java is structured language, it's not assembly. So we know what is Java code, what is Java method, what is Java body. And when you change a part of the Java method, we can really hot swap that method. So this is something that would probably not be possible in JavaScript at all. So now, we have seen the application running on a desktop. So this is primarily used for development, when you want interaction with the IDE. But now, let me show the same application running in Android. So, run, and I have here is my Android. Okay, the application launched. And well, it behaves the same, just like the other one. And so really we have cross-platform application that runs on desktop, Android. You have to trust me, it runs on iOS, but it does. And the last thing that we are interested in is a browser. So can we actually run the same application also in a browser? Well, we can. Here is an example. So, launching the application, and this is again the same application, doing the same things, just running in a browser. This is running without any Java plugin. It's based on a technology called back-to-browser virtual machine, which takes the bytecode of Java and converts it into JavaScript behind the scene. But the developer itself does not have to write any JavaScript. So, that's my demo.
Can I ask how complete?
And now it's time for questions. Perfect.
Can I ask how complete? Does it do all Java? Does it do Java 8? In terms of
So your question is about the back-to-browser VM. Well, first of all, I should say the back-to-browser VM is only interesting in case you are targeting browser. If you are targeting Android, then you are running on the Dalvik virtual machine. So Dalvik virtual machine is as complete as Google made it complete. If you are running on iOS, then we are using RoboVM virtual machine, and this machine is basically a port of Android. So again, probably as complete as Dalvik virtual machine, minus UI libraries. The UI libraries on iOS would be different. But thanks to all this support, all the DukeScript stuff, you can use the HTML UI and really have one UI on all the platforms. And now the last, basically the last answer to your original question, how complete is back-to-browser virtual machine? So if you are running in a browser, then we are using back-to-browser virtual machine, and it supports JDK8. So if you want to use lambdas, you can. Actually, let's try it. That's a nice thing. So lambda. This is a lambda. This is a lambda. So what I need to do in NetBeans, I probably need to switch this project to use JDK8. Sources, JDK8. Now I should get a hint. Use lambda expression. Okay, so this is lambda. I need to compile this project because we are in Maven, and in Maven you usually have more than one project. So this project compiles, and now let's go here, clean the previous debris, and let's run it in a browser. So the behavior should remain the same, I guess. We'll see. So lambdas, okay, done. Starting, rotate few seconds. So this executed lambda. Thank you very much, because it was not easy. And now, how complete is the language or the virtual machine? So basically, if you are interested in back-to-browser virtual machine, it's back-to-browser API design.org. Back to browser without any vowels. .API design, that's my website I created after writing a book about API design.org. So, fast. Is it fast? It's fast. Javadoc, back to browser Javadoc. And here is the reference, at least I hope it will work. So, build your own virtual machine, emulation of core libraries, compact profile. So this is basically the emulation of the classes that we have currently. It's based on JDK7 libraries, and it supports collections, it supports boxing. Let's look here. It supports reflection, so you can use some reflective APIs. Basically, the goal here, you are running in a browser. So for example, you very likely don't need to access files on a disk. So Java IO file is not really supported in the emulation of these libraries. But otherwise, everything for running a validation logic. If you want to basically use Java to animate the web page and validate whether certain values are okay or not, and if you want to communicate with the server, these things should be supported quite well. Good question. And we can continue. Perfect.
Okay, I have two questions. First of all, I mean, I like the idea of getting rid of JavaScript. I mean, but there are politics behind. So over the years, I mean, you have Dart, you have lots of languages aiming to replace JavaScript, but no one made it.
So I think this is fair concern. So replacing JavaScript, I think it's unavoidable. It has to happen because JavaScript currently, that's just a horrible mess. You are right. There has been attempts like the Dart language, and well, these days one of the most promising replacements is called TypeScript, as far as I know. Well, the problem with Dart, actually, I was closely watching what Dart is doing, but the problem with Dart is the new language. I said to myself that I don't want to invent a new language. No, I want to stick with Java. I want to have the tooling story of Java, because if Dart guys need to spend time, not, well, first of all, they have too much freedom. And if you have too much freedom, you start to do completely stupid things. So they can design new language. Well, what you do with new language, you put there everything that is good. So for example, sugar and vinegar, and then put there potatoes, and everyone likes something, and the language is horrible then, of course. So this is too much freedom that they have. The other thing is they need to waste time on all the tooling. They had to create an IDE for Dart, they need to build system for Dart, they need testing framework, they need, well, everything. Tooling for correctness, analysis of the code, refactorings, horrible mess. So all of this is avoided by using Java. With Java, I have it for free, and moreover, I'm more constrained. Really, I'm not inventing new language. Plus, if you look at the various options here, if you run, for example, on Android, or, well, let's try just the desktop version. If you use the desktop version, well, the thing that I needed to create was a tiny connection between the HTML page and the Java virtual machine. So, so the amount of the code here is really small. Basically, what we are using is standard, industry standard UI toolkit, and industry standard language. And then there is a small layer that connects that together. It's inventive, but it's small. So I think this should make the acceptance much easier than for any other solution that basically tries to replace JavaScript.
That was the second question about the performance of that.
Performance. So again, it depends on the system. So DukeScript, in order to function, needs a way to display HTML and a way to run Java code. In the desktop case, the virtual machine behind is hotspot virtual machine, the classical virtual machine provided by Oracle. Performance, great. Performance is great. This is NetBeans Day, sponsored by Oracle. Performance is great. Okay. In case of Android, well, the download virtual machine is slower. It has some problems, but well, these days it got much better than 5 years ago. So that's okay as well. iOS. On iOS, what the RoboVM does, actually, let me do some, I don't have the slides for that, but I mentioned RoboVM, so robovm.com. Today they released new version. But basically this is RoboVM, and what it does is converts class files into LLVM assembly. And that's basically the same thing that is happening with Objective-C. So you use Java, it gets converted into LLVM assembly, and then the path to create the application is the same as in Objective-C. So basically the performance of Java on iOS is the same as Objective-C, which is great. The performance of let me show you the performance on the browser. And actually, let's start here. I'm often saying that NetBeans is the most productive IDE, and it's because of this icon. It's a little plugin called Minesweeper, and well, the Minesweeper is written in DukeScript. So you can play Minesweeper if you are waiting for a long-running build, and the performance is okay. Well, but not only that. If you want, you can install it to your phone. The same application is available on Google Play. So if you are owner of Android phone, well, please download my fair mines. They are fair because usually the traditional way to play mines is to click a few times at various corners and hope most of the field will be uncovered. That does not work because these mines will be able to find out that you are clicking randomly and it will reshuffle the mines, so you click on a mine almost always. They are really fair. Okay, so this is it. But there is also a version for the Xelfit, CZ minus Reaper. There is a version for the browser. And actually I have two versions because there is not only the back-to-browser virtual machine which supports DukeScript and can convert Java code into JavaScript, but there is also TVM, so I will launch them both. Okay, so this is the application. Well, play. And it does sounds. Okay, so this is the back-to-browser thing, and this is the alternative virtual machine, which you can use as well. I think the performance is okay. Probably you don't want to run heavy computations on the client and solve linear equations, for example. But for controlling the UI, the performance is quite okay. Yeah, and here is also, if you are owner of iOS, the same application is available on App Store as well, once it downloads.